Avoid a £30,000 fine by making sure you have the correct property license before letting your property. An area of legal compliance currently confusing many landlords is the introduction of lettings licensing schemes by some local councils. The need for more awareness on what licenses are and how to determine whether you need one to avoid a significant fine makes this a critical video from our Guide to Property Investment series. The following content will help our investor community break down what can be a complicated subject. We have 3 main takeaways that will help you. Let us explain why licenses are being introduced, what types of licenses are in place, and the definition of a household, as this is key in determining whether a license is required. So, let's break these down point by point. Council licensing was first introduced in some London boroughs and is now being adopted more widely. Letting licenses is part of a broader goal to help make communities safer by reducing antisocial behaviour whilst improving safety standards within the private rental sector. Now, let's explore the 3 types of licenses: mandatory, additional, and selective. We'll break down each one to help give you a better understanding of whether they will apply to you. Mandatory license. This applies nationwide, but only to large houses in multiple occupation, HMOs. A property is considered a large HMO if it has 5 or more tenants forming 2 or more households. As the name suggests, if your property meets these criteria, this license will be required. Additional license. Unlike mandatory licensing, councils can choose to introduce this scheme either borough-wide or in specific areas. If in place, it only applies to small HMOs, which is defined as a property which has 3 or more tenants forming 2 or more households. Selective license. Like additional licensing, councils can apply this borough-wide or to specific areas. However, the difference with selective licensing is it applies to all rental properties in those areas, regardless of the number of tenants or households. Simply put, it's a license to let. If you are unsure whether your property will require a license and want some guidance, please give us a call. As we've just explained, mandatory and additional licensing schemes depend on the number of households in a property, not just the tenant count. So it's important to understand what is meant by the term household. In simple terms, a household can be defined as a single person living alone, members of the same family living together, a married couple or partners living together. To clarify with examples, a family moving in is considered one household. A couple and a friend would be classed as 2 households. 3 friends sharing a property would count as 3 households. To summarize, firstly, there are 3 types of licenses: mandatory, additional, and selective. Secondly, mandatory licensing applies nationwide, while additional and selective licensing only apply if the local council chooses to implement them. Thirdly, whether you'll require a mandatory or additional license depends on the number of tenants and households in your property. Finally, in areas where selective licensing is in place, you can look at this as a license to let. It applies to all rental properties, regardless of tenants or households. Are you worried about the licensing process delaying a tenant's move-in date? Don't be. You can still let your property as long as the license application has been submitted, even if it hasn't been granted yet. We hope this video has helped simplify the topic of property licensing. New areas are steadily being brought under licensing regulations, so it's important to stay informed. Our expert team is here to help our investor community determine whether their properties will require a license. If it does, we'll provide clear guidance and support to ensure everything is in place. Call us today if you have any further questions. Our details are available on our website. Thank you for watching.